the medicine, the treatment, the visit to the doctor, where relapse becomes a lesson, not a verdict. Addiction is a loop. It doesn't end because you want it to. It ends when you train your brain to rewire and rebuild. It isn't about any willpower, it's about a strategy. The only strategy which works. And there are two forces, two main facets of the strategy. First one, the intervention, the science, the medicine, the treatment, the visit to the doctor. And number two, the connection, the love, the spiritual inclination, the family, and the friends, the feeling of being important. Miss either one, and the loop is going to pull you back. Every recovery starts with a crash. When you hit a wall, emotional, physical, spiritual, it might be an overdose. It might be an incident of physical violence which lands you up in jail. It might be you unable to recognize yourself in the mirror because your eyes are so red. And here comes the first rule of survival. Stop pretending that you can do it alone. When your brain is wired with addiction, it doesn't listen to logic. It listens to chemistry. And chemistry changes with treatment. Addiction is a brain disease, but it's treatable. In the first phase, you need to detox yourself and then stabilize. For example, if you're addicted to opioids, you might need buprenorphine, methadone, something like that, to take care of your withdrawal symptoms, which is gradually reduced. If you're addicted to alcohol, you might need something to stabilize yourself, again, to prevent the withdrawal. Don't do it at home, or else you might face seizures and delirium, which can be fatal if untreated. These treatments are neuroscience backed. And it's not a weakness to need the medicine. Your brain learned a wrong language and medication helps you relearn it. Then comes the psychological intervention. Maybe it's CBT to help break the pattern. Maybe it's motivational therapy to rebuild relief. Maybe it's interpersonal therapy. Maybe you need trauma therapy. Maybe you need group therapy. But science alone isn't enough. Never. You can fix the chemistry and still lose the person. Here comes the importance of connection. The pillar number 2. Families and familial support. Friends, they're the hidden engine of recovery. But only if they know how to help. Not by shouting, not by threatening, not by hitting you when you relapse. Because relapse is a part of treatment, by the way. By understanding the wound beneath the behavior. When you say, why can't you just stop? The dependent person hears, you are a failure. When you say, I believe in you, the dependent person hears, maybe I have a chance. So recovery takes a team. Doctors for the medical part, therapists for the psychological part, and family for the connection to fulfill the deficiency that started addiction in the first place, and the community for everything in between. So here comes the role of community support, which is equally important. That's what support groups do. They take out the shame, where relapse becomes a lesson, not a verdict, where you stop being a patient and start becoming a person again. Relapse is not the end, it's a message. Every sip reveals a trigger which you didn't see earlier. Maybe a stress caused the relapse, maybe a craving caused the relapse, maybe a painful memory hiding in plain sight caused the relapse. Maybe you stopped your smoking addiction and when you went by the market, the smell took you through. It's a lesson that we need stronger armory for the next time. We don't mind relapses as long as the number of days between successive relapses keep on increasing. That finally relapses stop. Because failing doesn't erase progress. It tells you that at least you were trying. And then the final part, reconstruction. Leaving the substance is not the end of treatment. You need to rebuild your life. You need to have the purpose again. You need to have that proper sleep again. You need to have that proper movement again. If you were unable to set boundaries earlier, you need to have that. You need to train yourself for that. Maybe your therapist will help in that. You need things that give you eternal joy, that sunlight, that music, spending of time with your family. So recovery is not a miracle. It's a method, a strategic method, which involves science, which involves family, which involves connection, which involves reconstruction, which involves relapses and learning from that. People are unable to escape alone from this pattern, but they don't have to. Thank you.